Are you a healthcare CEO who's working 80 plus hours a week and still feel like you have endless things to be done despite having a team behind you? Today, we're uncovering why healthcare entrepreneurs are ditching the DIY strategy and truly creating the right way to build a sustainable team that can support them, and not the other way around, to truly accelerate your company's growth and do not stay behind the curve when it comes to the competitiveness of our industry. Welcome to Provider's Edge, the podcast that helps healthcare entrepreneurs and innovators break down barriers and control their business, life, and future with valuable action steps. With me, your host, Sabrina Runbeck, a recovered clinician and a business deal catalyst. Let's rewrite the rules and create a positive social impact while increasing your profitability. Today, we have Cori, a lovely Cori here with us, who truly found that as leaders, we often is in the rush of getting somewhere or having 10,000 things that we need to do and still feel like we're on 10 different technology applications, all the things that are supposed to help us to move forward. And we're being bombarded and chaotic. And sometimes just like even the thing like Zoom that you use every day still fell on you. So how do we create the environment of healing for ourselves as we grow? And also for us to not having any of these, what I call the shitty committee on the back of your head, creating those self-doubt. And I love it that she's here with us today. It's definitely super aligned with what I'm doing, especially our TEDx event in Atlanta coming up. And one of the things that I'm talking about, why women are not getting funding, or how come startups really fail, is the first gatekeeper is really just us. So we love for Cori to share a little bit of more insight. So tell us, what made you truly create the path where you are on right now versus anything else that you could be doing exciting things in the world?
Well, thank you for such an awesome question and opportunity. For me, the path that I am on, I was tired of being my own best client. To put it frankly, I was tired, I was stressed out, I was overwhelmed. You list the adjectives along that path line, and I fit like every box. And I had started being exposed or introduced to energetic healing and more of holistic tools and experiences. And I actually started meeting different women who were doing these things all the time. I'm like, wait a minute, this doesn't just have to be a passion. This can be how I help other people. This is something that I can do for my livelihood and thrive at it. And I have not looked back ever since learning about that.
Yeah, I think all of us can have that journey of what we set out to be is not exactly what we end up.
Yeah.
Even though we are able to transfer the talent, the experience into our next role. And sometimes we have to trust ourselves to be able to do the discover. And it's definitely tougher as we go on with life. And as we age, there are more financial obligations, right? And there are more things that come into our way, feeling like, well, I already have this quality of life. If I change, if I pivot, would I be able to keep up with it? And same thing with the business decision. If we have something quote unquote working, but is it really working, right? And people have that fear and then indecision on, can I take a step back or not even take a step back? Can I just simply stop for a second for me to reevaluate either by my own eyes or some other pair of expert eyes to see a clear picture so it can put us on the better direction? Is that where tend to be you seeing from people that you work with and just the culture as we are in this constantly driven, constantly changing how we believe, how we're supposed to lead, how we're supposed to innovate and create. The space of what healthcare and wellness is in, it's not really about wellness, right? It's really just about that one drive and one goal.
Yeah, I think with health and wellness, especially, we get focused on one aspect of our health or one aspect of our wellness instead of a holistic approach of, wait a minute, my mind, my body, my energy, they're all one thing. And how do I really take care of all of that in one opportunity or in one fall swoop? And you're talking about having, different paths that lead us to where we are. So I have a history master's and I really wanted to go into museum work. And so instead of helping people learn from the collective history, it's how do we learn from our own history is how my practice is pretty structured. And how do we help ourselves learn from, okay, that really worked for me. This isn't. How do I continue to grow myself and the people that I help grow forward? And I think it's been a much healthier and more empowering path for myself and the clients that I work with.
Let me break down what we just heard from our amazing guest speaker. Forget the old school hustle that's leaving you drained. We're talking about a whole new game in healthcare leadership. DIY isn't the badge of honor we thought it was. We cannot do it all by ourselves. Our guest nailed it when she said, if you feel like you need to hire someone, you probably should have hired them yesterday. It's all about knowing your true value and building a rock star team that lets you focus on your genius zone. This isn't just about delegating tasks. It's about creating a powerhouse that can take your company to the next level. Remember, expanding your team isn't a cost. It's an investment in sustainable growth and innovation. Are you ready to level up your leadership game? All right, quick intermission. If you haven't subscribed to our podcasts and shows, please do so on your favorite platform and take a screenshot of wherever you are listening to us right now and post it on LinkedIn. We would love to hear your insight on how you are able to create that best system around you, either simply just hiring an executive assistant to building out an entire board advisory or delegating to the admin backend team that can do the right things for you to support how you like to function. And tag me, Sabrina Runbeck, on LinkedIn. Love to continue this conversation. All right, let's get back to the rest of our show. Yeah, it's like what you were just saying, which is really fun to put in that perspective of instead of learning about the collective history of what happened in the past for all these other people within our close community or distant, how can we learn from our own history and what are the opportunities that we can gain from that history instead of feeling held back and not tap into, well, this has happened in the past and creating our own fear of unable to make the right decision going forward, right? And one of the biggest thing really as unpopular thing in any leadership is really courage, right? We have to be daring enough to be in the arena, right? Winston Churchill said, but you have to be able to make the unpopular decision and be able to commit to it. Even Steve Jobs have said, if we wait until we collect 90% of all data points, you are too late. So you needed to stay only about 70% and simply make the decision. And once you make the decision, then you can actually change to a better, right? And instead of feeling like the agony of regretting what could be, what ought to be. And for your experience now in this special role, working with women leaders and executives, what do you see is the most challenges right now?
I think the biggest challenge we have right now is continuing to shift from hustle culture. And then we went into burnout. And now, okay, what is the next step? How do we find a balance? How do we own it's okay to rest? How do we own it's okay to build ourselves and a community around us? I think most of us are coming to recognize we can't do it alone. Like it's our path, it's our business. But how do we do that in more community mode as opposed to competition mode? And that will help us build forward. But further, it's okay, community, but how do I really, really believe that the path and the foundations that I'm laying for myself are the best path? And the bottom line is that self-trust factor. How do I continue to own, okay, I'm on the right path? How do we step through the imposter syndrome? Because with each level that we continue to grow through, that's like a new little imposter minion, or what are the minions between your heads, your ears, however you want to refer to it, or head trash, if you will. It seems like that new layer decides to unlayer a new ish with it. And how do we continue to be like, no, that's not the truth. There are so many awesome people that I can help. I have to do what I am doing. Like, this is what I get to do. And I'm darn good at it.
Right. It's trusting that you have the gift. And also, if you don't do it, would other people get even better result and quality with your competitor versus you? And if you truly trust your talent, your services, your product, and that truly is the ultimate solution for the specific type of clients that you needed to engage with, then we have to be able to think about it's not just the grind, and it's not grinding to the point that I don't even think I'll ever get burned out, right? I'm managing it, right? Or we're not like the people who just managing is not okay.
Yeah.
Our life shouldn't just be accepted by, oh, I'm just managing it, but I'm exhausted all the time. I can't sleep. Or when I sleep, I wake myself up because I still worry about all the other stuff that hasn't been left. What truly mean is you don't have a true great organizational infrastructure. It's not. When you have the right people in place in the right role and the right workflow, you as the leader should only stay in the leadership role of creating, managing other people's true desire, right? Sometimes there's a lot of emotional ups and downs that we have to manage of others, and do what you do the best in this little domain of your genius zone. When you see people making that shift, what do you think they have to do to actually truly be able to say, this is my breaking point, I can't be doing this, then I'm going to see burned out, then it's actually very detrimental to my company and my career and who I am as an individual. I need to do some kind of shift to allow myself to rest or to go on that vacation, to appreciate it and to not to overburden.
I think the biggest pivot is recognizing when you trust yourself, you also trust the people you have around you. So you're talking about you're kind of alluding to, in my interpretation, being in your own zone of genius. And when you stay in that place, when you're able to do what you're really meant to do, you enable other people to do that. So as a healthcare provider or a nurse, your zone of genius probably isn't billing. So having somebody who is incredible with numbers on your team, let them be in their zone and help you to be able to do what you need to do. Have somebody who's exquisite at customer service, working, front desk, like be intentional about your team and let your team do what they're really here to do, because not everybody is here to do what you do. And that's the great part. And you're not here to do what they're here to do. So owning where you're great and where you'd like people to complement what you're great at, I think is one of the biggest and strongest assets of your own team.
Yeah. And then my interpretation of that is we have to figure out first, what is your true passion and genius zone combined? It's not just, oh, I kind of like this. But if it's not come to you that easy,
eventually it's going to kill your momentum because then you work on it so much, right? For some of us, especially in business, it seems like, well, I like to have a conversation with other people, but I'm kind of tired. I don't really like people because they drag out the conversation, or I'm feeling like I'm chasing them around. Well, then business partnership probably is not for you. You should find someone who has that talent of who is a true connector to do it on your behalf, right? On your company's behalf. And then you can have more the intentional conversation once they bought in and trust what effort that you're providing and serving them, and then have that final conversation if you truly want to be in that sales process, right? Or you only want it to be in the delivering process. Once people committed to have the contract with you, then you want it to be the face. Oh yeah, really welcoming them, making sure they feel like they are being served the best way they can, right? So it's finding now, and I believe that can be the really tough part, right, Cori? Is figuring out what you truly love to do and is really skilled for, and not criticize yourself for taking on more and more and more these obligations that are really not serving you. Someone else should be really able to do, but also not talk yourself out to say, I don't have the money. I don't have the resource. Oh, how am I going to find that person? It's going to take me too long to even teach that person, right? All those false beliefs.
I think one of the best things I heard when I was getting started is if you feel like you need to hire somebody, you probably should have hired them yesterday. You will find the way. And especially when it comes to connectors or the people who are great with numbers, that will save you so much hassle and so much financial burden in the long run. Please do not sell yourself short. I mean, asking for help, in my opinion, is kind of putting on your superhero cape, if you will. And by expanding your team in a timely manner, you're putting on your superhero cape and recognizing, hey, I'm worth this. My clients are worth this. If you're, with a family, like most of us are, whether it's, you've got a significant other, kids, whatnot, we all have lives. They're worth me having the time and the mental capacity that I actually get to give them dedication. Awesome.
Let me dish out what we just learned about team dynamic in healthcare. It's not about being a superhero and doing it all yourself. It is about being a conductor of an amazing orchestra. Our guest dropped some serious wisdom about tapping into each team member's super hyper skill set. It's all about matching the right person to the right job and watching the magic happen. And here's the kicker. When you do this right, you're not just building a team. You're crafting a powerhouse of innovation. It frees you up to do whatever you do best, which is leading the change and dreaming big. This isn't just management 101, folks. It's about creating a symphony of talent that's going to rock the healthcare world, especially in the tech space. How is that for a game changer? All right, if you're listening and thinking, I have a story to tell that can inspire, then we want to hear from you. Apply to be one of our speakers. Just visit theprovidersedge.com. Let's share your success and inspire others further. All right, let's get back to the rest of the show.
Right. If we're in a place of lead, that means we need to be able to create influence and create innovative ideas for the whole company to go forward, not in stagnation. So if we don't allow ourselves to have space, we are so stretched thin like a rubber band. Guess what? When you stretch it so many times, it will break. And therefore, for us, we have to optimize ourselves in the place to allow space to be there so that we can have cushion, right? When something happens, it's okay. And we're not going to blame everything at the end of the day. It's just what it is. We have to move on. We have to learn something. And sometimes it is the tough decisions at the end of the day where when you said, like, oh, if you think you should have hired someone, you should have hired someone days and months ago, right? And some people will be able to have that realization, but they still couldn't pull the trigger. What do you think is the reason why people say, oh, yeah, I see I need it. I want this. I see if I don't change, nothing will change, but they still delay in the response?
I think there's still a lot of peer pressure of, well, how did that company do it? How do I pay attention to how my predecessors have done it? I need to, maybe you feel you need to have so much in the bank before you make that leap. There are a lot of negative Nellies or little monsters that run around that keep us from personally reaching our potential and our clients. And when it boils down, what it boils down to is just fear of, well, who am I going to let down? If I overstretch myself, I'm not going to be able to pay myself. I'm not going to be able to pay them. Where and how is it all going to work? And you've got to have the faith and the gumption or the intentional actions, however you want to phrase it, all of the above, to be like, okay, now I've committed to this, and having this part taken care of, we can do more sales. I can work with more customers. I'm not doing paperwork as much anymore. So that gives me more time in a day to do X, Y, and Z. That's more profitable for the company. Oh, why didn't I think of that? Don't judge yourself. Just be like, okay, great. We can make it happen. Let's hire the person.
Yeah. And now I see one of the things, even one of my own mentor have taught me is, what is your true hourly rate? If someone come to see you, you have a consultation, whatnot, let's just say is $200. But hiring someone to do XYZ tasks, paperwork, your bookkeeping, all the other things that you don't like to do, and you still do, like graphic design, social media, engagement, all those things, they probably is not being paid at $200 per hour. And if you are doing those type of job, then you have to add the total number of hours that you work for the week, the month, or the year, divided by how much revenue you actually bring in. Then you're really truly seeing what's your true worth for that role. And we don't want it to diminish your true worth. We want you to be in the most joyful person, to be able to have the right people around you, to all share that core value of who you are. So as we wrap up, what would be the final takeaway, Cori, you like people to have?
I think as we're building our businesses forward, we have to remember that balance is a practice, just like most of us have a healthcare or we have a provider type practice, right? It's a day to day. We learn day to day. Sometimes we fail a little bit, but so long as we're learning, it's not really failure in my book. But it's working with other people, even though it's our own path. It's like, I love this community because you're not alone. Like you have examples of other people you can reach out to. And it's really a balance of stepping through the energetic and the mentality of, okay, how can I do this different? Who can I converse with so I'm not leaving my people stuck in the same place that we've been, so we can keep blooming ourselves forward?
Perfect. And how can people reach out to you, and in what way, or if you have resources that you would love to share with our audience?
Yeah, so the easiest way to find me, I'm very active on LinkedIn. It's CoriStuart is how to spell my name. And the great thing about being unique and spelling, once you figure out how to spell my name, it's pretty easy to find me. I am active on Instagram with Cori Stuart Holistic Healing. And I also have a website that I list the different opportunities that I have available. I'm also a very active Reiki practitioner. Love that option as an additional modality for ourselves and for our clients. But a great opportunity that I'd love to offer to your individuals is I have a freebie of 7 steps or 7 tools that you can use for anxiety reduction. As I know, so many of us are still working our way back out of burnout and into balance.
Amazing. We'll put that link in the comments so you guys can go grab it and find the right resources. Can't wait to hear you guys' thought on what are you doing to prevent going into chaos or eventually burned out, but actually put yourself back into your zone of genius so you can perform the best for your company, for your clients, for your patients, for really creating the true impact you meant to be creating.
Healthcare technology is undergoing a crucial shift from burnout-driven hustle culture to a more sustainable, balanced approach to growth and innovation. This change isn't just optional. It is essential for long-term success in the healthcare space for anyone who are creating innovations and are big dreamers who wanted to make sure their solution can be a leader in the marketplace. So, are you ready to redefine leadership in this evolving landscape? Here's what we unpacked in today's episode. Number 1, building resilience in healthcare, developing strategies to overcome imposter syndrome and build self-trust at every level. Number 2, maximizing your team's potential, identifying each team member's zone of genius and mastering the art of strategic delegation. Number 3, financial strategy for scaling, understanding your true hourly rate and making smart, timely decisions about hiring and expansion. Number 4, creating a culture of balance and innovation, implementing daily practices that foster work-life balance and drive creativity. Number 5, navigating the technology challenges, addressing funding disparities and building resilience in a competitive landscape. Number 6, the future of healthcare innovation and leadership, integrating holistic approach to prepare for the next wave of healthcare innovation. All right, we invite you to share your experience and insight with us. Post it on LinkedIn and tag me, Sabrina Runbeck. Let's engage in a dialogue that we could steer our collective success to a more prosperous and efficient future for both you as leaders in the space and our end users, our patients and caregivers. So tell us, what steps are you taking to create a more balanced and innovative approach in your company? Thank you for tuning in to Provider's Edge podcast. We hope you enjoy our latest episode and found the insights and tips helpful. We'd love to hear your feedback on the show and learn what topics you'd like us to cover in the future. So please take a moment to leave us a review on your favorite podcast platform and let us know what you think. Your feedback is essential to help us improve the show and provide you with the content you need to take your healthcare business to the next level. Thank you for your support, and we look forward to hearing from you soon.